Hi gang, Azrach here and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're taking a look at the CretBee Achilles High Tough ABS-like resin. I am on a constant search for action figure resins, and although we have amazing options from the Resi1 line of resins, the Resi1 resins may not be available to everyone everywhere. So today we're looking at the beige version of the CretBee resin. We will use this resin to print out my Wraithborn action figure and see how this resin will perform for action figure scenarios. A few useful stats about this resin. This resin has 70 to 80% plasticity, which makes it an ABS-like resin in both strength and toughness. The hardness rating on this resin is ATD, which means that it is a very hard, rigid and durable resin. The resin is also high viscosity, so the flow of resin is really good, which can also be really helpful to avoid some failures during printing. So with all that out of the way, let's get into the review. As we look at these 3D files, I really wanted to mention how fun this action figure was to sculpt. I gave the sculpt a ton of texture for the body and all the different muscles, which hopefully should add to the look of this figure. I added some chains to the figure as experimental parts. I sculpted this kick-ass weapon that I'm super proud of since hard surface modeling is not my bread and butter, and I added some additional heads and tons of spikes for added effect. And also, because some of the parts were so experimental, I made sure to add alternate parts so the figure can be printed out without the uncertainty. Before we jump back into the video, I wanted to give a quick shout out to PCB Way who are sponsoring this video. PCB Way is the home for prototyping and manufacturing, and whether you require PCBs, 3D prints or CNC machining, PCB Way has got the solution for you. Their platform makes it super easy to bring your designs from idea to reality, and they're fast, reliable and affordable. And right now, PCB Way has something really fun going on with their mascot design contest. You can design and submit Eon themed files or create your own mascot design for PCB Way for a chance to win cash prizes, coupons, certificates and bragging rights. PCB Way will announce a total of 8 winners, so get designing today. It is a great opportunity to show off your creativity and it's open to everyone. So just head over to PCBWay.com, link in the description below, and check out their mascot design contest for all of the details on how to enter. Thanks again to PCB Way for supporting creators like me, and now let's get back to the video. So here you can see my 3D printing settings on screen, and some key parts are that I expose the bottom layers for about 30 seconds for 6 layers, and the rest of the layers are printed in 0.04 mm layer height and exposed for 2.7 seconds. The print, I believe, turned out really well, and it captures a lot of details in the sculpt grooves here. It is a little bit hard to see because this is a beige resin, but if you look at some of these parts, there is a lot of details in there, and if you get the right lighting on it, it's just very visible and very nice. As always, we will assemble this knee joint on this action figure to get a feel on how this resin will actually work. This resin does heat up really well and has a little bit of softness after heating, so I think this should assemble pretty well. So here is a closer look at the assembled joint, and it does feel really nice. There's a little bit of smoothness to it, and I think there is enough kind of friction to stick in positions, and there is a little bit of looseness at the top here, but I think other than that the resin feels pretty good. So I do have these spare parts that we can test scratchiness on, and that is pretty good. I don't see too many scratches on the back of that. The resin feels smooth when rubbing against other resin parts. There is a little bit of scratching going on here, but it's very minimal, and the resin actually feels pretty smooth against resin. So I feel like this is going to be a pretty good resin for action figures. once I had verified that the knee joint worked as expected, I started putting together the rest of the figure, and the process felt very simple, and the parts when heated are really easy to assemble. So the part I struggle with most is the abdomen part, because it's a solid piece with basically not much flexibility, because the parts are really solid. So I struggled with assembling this, but with enough heat it was not a big problem. The only part that was damaged during the assembly is the trunk's piece here. So the trunk is like a thinner piece, and the wall basically is, I think, about 6 millimeters. So when I pressed the skull into the trunks, it expanded and basically caused that tear here. So that's the only issue. Other than that, there was no issue with putting the figure together, and everything went on really well. So let's take a look at the articulation on this figure. Or we'll start off with the head. The head can look down about that much, can look up about that much. There is good side to side pivot, and it can turn around easily. The head can also be swapped pretty easily. Here we've got the alternate head sculpt on the body, so that's really good. There are some parts that are experimental here, so luckily they didn't break, but yeah, they do perform pretty well. Let's look at the abdomen joint here. So abdomen can go around, should be able to crunch up a little bit, which is about that far forward, and should be able to go back a little bit as well. There is some side to side, but not too much. The lower ab should get a little bit of articulation as well, so he can pivot left and right and side to side. The joints do feel really smooth with this resin, although I feel like with the chest dumbbell joint here, there is a little bit too much teeth on that still, so I need to work on that a little bit for a later iteration. With the butterfly joint, it can go in and out, so it's good, and the resin so far has been holding up really well, and it feels really smooth. Hand can go up about that much. The biceps can rotate fully. Double joint in the elbow that can get up to that much. The wrist can go back and forth and can spin around as well, no issues there. We will also test out this joint, which can basically turn the arm around full 360. At the legs here, we have our usual drop down, which functions really well. So I'm liking this resin a lot so far. The legs can drop down, it can kick forward, and it can go back as well, but the sculpt on the bum kind of blocks that a little bit. He can kick out about that much, so he should be able to do like a semi split, not all the way out, but it's still pretty decent. Double joint in the knee, so I'll just get that to trigger here, and it can go all the way back, although that spike piece is running into the body a little bit, so the double joint works well. And there is ankle rotation, there is ankle back and forth, there is ankle pivots, and we've also got the toe hinge here. So everything I think works really well on this figure, and I'm really liking the resin so far. So after the printing, cleaning, assembly testing, assembly and articulation, we can conclude that this is a great resin for action figures and mechanical parts. The printing is super simple and easy due to the viscosity of the resin. The cleaning and post-curing is also pretty straightforward. I cleaned the parts in IPA for about 3 minutes and cured the parts for about 10 minutes in the curing chamber. The parts are also flexible as required when heated, so that made the assembly super simple. The parts held together really well even after the articulation test, and it feels like a really smooth resin with enough friction to hold poses, so ultimately I would recommend the CretBee Achilles Resin for action figure printing. If you want to try out this resin, I have links in the description section below. CretBee has also provided discount codes for the Amazon US store, the Amazon Germany store, as well as their official website, so check out the discount codes in the description section below. I hope that you have enjoyed this video and a showcase of my action figure along with a review of the CretBee resin. As always, I hope this video was informative and educational. Thank you to all my Patreons without whom all of this would not have been possible, and thank you everyone for watching this video. I hope to see you again in the next one.